So I think it's time for more horsepower. Now I hope that's big news to you all who've been fans of my channel for a while. You see here I got this nice D16 Y8 sitting behind me. I don't think that's the thing I want for more horsepower. No, when I go to make power, I plan to do it right the first time. So I'm gonna leave that there for right now. So actually what I'm gonna be doing with this cylinder head is selling it. Follow me on Instagram at refine_movement and send me a DM if you're interested in this thing. So let's go ahead and take this cylinder head off. So if you've been a fan of the channel for a while, you may recognize this Y8. I actually had this in the car for a little bit. The cylinder head was refreshed at Advanced Cylinder Heads. It is a really nice piece now that they disassembled, cleaned up, and put back together. The bottom end of this block, however, was never touched. And that was totally my fault. Like, I got the cylinder head going real nice, but I never touched the bottom end. I never took that out. And that's really where I went wrong in this scenario. With the freshened up cylinder head, it kind of showed more problems in the bottom end, if that makes sense. It's like, you know, I paid attention to one part, but not the other. So again, the cylinder head is really nice, ready to go. The bottom end, however, is burning oil. Now, both of these things can be for sale. If you're interested in the bottom end, you know, we can talk about that. Just know that it is burning oil in its current state and definitely needs attention. So here's that Y8 head close up. You can see in here that, man, this thing is really clean. Like, it literally has a couple 100 miles on it, and I'm gonna get more into that here in just a minute in this video. The bottom side of this thing, it still looks freshly decked. So what's for sale? This is my D16 Y8 cylinder head that has been to a machine shop called Advanced Cylinder Heads, where they disassembled this entire cylinder head, cleaned it all up, did a 3-angle valve job on their beautiful new machine, and reassembled the head. Now the beautiful part about this for me is that I have video to show you guys. Let's check it out. Okay, so here's the shop. Advanced Cylinder Heads Machine Shop, really cool place. Highly recommend them if you're in the Central Florida area. These guys are in Winter Park, Florida. Since it was the cylinder head as I brought it into them, they said pretty much the only thing that it needed was a set of exhaust valve guides. Everything else looked really good, and since I wasn't doing anything performance-wise to it, I just wanted it cleaned up, really. That's all they recommended changing. However, we did get into doing a 3-angle valve job as well. So here he's just sand beating off all of the extra material that would have been on the cylinder head, just generally cleaning this thing up. See it coming out of there looking a little bit better already. But then it goes into this really hot tank, where this is, I guess, the second stage of cleaning it. You see how hot it was in there. Spray it down, then when the cylinder head comes out of this spot, they take it over to another hot tank, the ultrasonic. so this guy right here is the business. This cylinder head was fully submerged in this hot water, soapy hot water. And then when it comes on out of this thing, it's looking really good. Bringing it back on over to that bench, and you see they go ahead and spray it off, getting all that soapy water off, and you could tell already how much cleaner this thing is looking than when I brought it in. Air hosing out all the extra water. And look at that. Really, really clean on the inside, right? So this here is them pushing out the old exhaust valve guides, then going ahead and putting in the new ones. While I was there, I remember they mentioned, like, this is one of those precise things. You know, you can do this kind of stuff at home. You just need to have the tools and the knowledge of what it is that you're looking for. Pushing in these exhaust valve guides just a little by little with that air hammer, and then using that micrometer to go ahead and check the tolerances. Then we put this thing on the Newen machine. This is where it got pretty cool. This Newen machine is incredible. It can copy exact measurements to each one of these valves. This is the machine that they use to perform this 3-angle valve job. Flip it around and went ahead and did the same for both the intake and exhaust valves. Then we brought it over to the machine to go ahead and deck this thing. Get a nice level surface and that super glossy finish, you know, that everyone loves. It looks great for Instagram, but it actually has a purpose. And whoa, that's the money shot everybody wants to see right there. Nice and smooth, super flat surface to go ahead and put back onto the block. Here he was just cleaning up the little edges, the burrs, so there's no kind of disruption for coolant flow. And then you see all the pieces on the table, getting ready for a final assembly. Everything that you see here on this table has been fully cleaned. Now these are all stock pieces, so there is nothing performance-wise to it. But I will tell you that this was around $800 worth of cylinder head work at the machine shop. Just opened the seal from it being all bagged up. Really nice and clean. So this cylinder head really only has 300-ish miles on it. I drove about 120 something miles on up to the firm, the racetrack that I used this engine to drive up to. I did a few laps while I was out there. I did put it around my area just a little bit. So this cylinder head really only has a few hundred miles on the thing. It's still freshly machined and ready to go. So if you want to DM me about this thing, again, it's at refine_movement on Instagram. Or if you just want to follow along on the page, that'd be cool too. Now, as far as the power thing, let's talk about this for just a minute. Again, if you've been a fan of this channel for a while, I hope this excites you, because you know that I've talked about D-Series, D-Series, D-Series. If you remember, or if you've been a fan of this channel for a while now, and I know some of you have, some of you have been commenting and be like, oh, I've been here for 6 years, and that's so cool, man. If you've been a fan of this channel for a while, in the very beginning, I said I wanted to take the Gran Turismo approach to this car. What do I mean by that? I wanted to take the base car, bring it out on the racetrack, determine what I need to try to go faster, and then do those changes, bring it back out to the racetrack, rinse and repeat. The whole idea is that I would get better as a driver with a low power level, learning to drive this car in a momentum sense. It's got no horsepower, you gotta keep the thing revved up, you gotta take the nice wide lines, all that kind of stuff. Car control, utmost important thing. I never wanted to start with just power. That's kind of what the standard recipe is, right? It's like coilovers, wheels, power. Technically, that's kind of what I got on this car, just coilovers, wheels, and tires. There's really nothing else that awesome to it. And so I am going for power, but the main difference is I have a lot of seat time now. I've driven a couple different racetracks. I have a couple more on the calendar that are waiting to come up real quick, but I've just had a lot of seat time. And with that seat time comes a comfortability. When I first started driving this car, I felt really uncomfortable going to the racetrack. It was kind of scary, to be honest. Like, I'm gonna drive this thing flat out and it doesn't have anything to it. It was just a stock car completely then. I still don't have the safety stuff that I really want. But so aside from that, just being out on track and learning to drive this thing has been huge for my confidence, and I've really started to become used to the thing. I understand what this car feels like at the limit now, and that's something that I didn't know a few years ago. And that was a really big statement. Like, I understand what this car feels like at the limit now. I know what it's gonna feel like when it starts to break loose, when the back wants to come around, or when I'm gonna understeer. Like, I know those things at the current power level. And so that is still a ton of fun. Like, I don't wanna underestimate that. That is still so fun driving this car. I don't care if I can predict what the power is gonna be like. It is a blast. But of course, I wanna progress. I wanna move on. It's been years now. I've done that Gran Turismo approach. I'm familiar with the power. It's time to take a significant step up. Adding 10, 20 horsepower with a cylinder head swap, like, that's not what I'm talking about. I want to get into something a little bit more big boy than that. So again, I do have the plans. I do have some things coming together. I really hope you all are gonna stay tuned. So thank you all so much for watching. Again, it's refine_movement. Check out the Instagram. I really appreciate having you all around. Thank you so much for enjoying this with me. Talk to you in the next one.